I'm Morag Anderson, and I'm delighted to be spending some time with my good friend and fabulous performance poet, Muna. We've been talking about my role as a dentist in my life and how that fits with poetry. And the first thing Muna asked me was, how do I deal with pain in my workplace compared to my poetry? So physical pain for me is something that over years I've learned to manage, both for myself and obviously importantly for my patients. Physical pain is hopefully temporary. I'm lucky I don't live with chronic pain, but for those that don't live with chronic pain, it passes if we can take the reassurance that it's something that doesn't last. And if we focus on our pain, we suffer more. So trying to manage pain, I can do that clinically through years of experience. That's one element, but a lot of it also comes down to your personality. So if you're somebody that cares and has genuine empathy for the people that you spend time with, then already that lessens their pain. So pain in life is inevitable. We're all going to experience it. Emotional pain is different, so poetry often will address emotional pain, and it's a bit like your shadow. The human being cannot survive without light for long, so your shadow will follow you at some point, 360 degrees around your body. You can see it in front of you, you might be able to see it behind you. Sometimes you don't see it at all. So that shadow of emotional pain is always there. At high noon, the sun is directly above your head and your shadow is therefore underneath your feet. So it's always there. How you learn to welcome it and sit with it can be a way of writing poetry. So that's what poetry is for me. It lets me think about the things that trouble me. It makes me reshape them and thread them somewhere into my poetry. So Muna, you asked me about the mouth as a place for speech, for poetry, for smiling, and how does that compare with it also being a place for treatment? The mouth is an amazing part of the body. An amazing part of the body. It is the portal to everything. It's where we breathe in our oxygen-rich air to fill our lungs, feeds our heart. It's where we take nourishment. We need food and water to survive. But it's also somewhere that we don't often care for. Dental disease is preventable. So the mouth doesn't get the love often that it deserves. And poetry and dentistry are both places of repair. So the mouth is somewhere where I go in and I fix broken things, or I help prevent things from breaking further. And likewise, whether I'm reading poetry, whether I'm sharing time with poets, or whether I'm writing poetry, what I experience is repair. It's something that heals. It might be quick, it might be something that takes a long time, but it's an important process for moving through life for me. Muna, you asked me which poet I would be afraid to treat. And the truthful answer is nobody, because when somebody comes into my room, we are all the same. So I wouldn't be fearful of treating anybody. We are all born of mothers. However, I don't think I would like it, and apologies to anybody that will disagree with me, I don't think I would like it if Ted Hughes came into my surgery, because I think we would clash. I don't think I would like to spend, he'd be interesting for sure, but as a patient in the chair, I'd have to offer him care like everybody else, and I'm not sure, apologies, I'm not sure that I'd really want to. So that's my kind of deep, dark secret. No thank you, Ted Hughes, don't come back as a ghost to get your teeth fixed. Muna, this question I love, and I've never thought about it before. So you asked me, what are the differences between extracting a thought or poetry from the mind and extracting a tooth from a mouth? And I gave it a lot of thought, and in actual fact, it's so similar, it's incredible. So sometimes a tooth can be so loose, you could almost pluck it from the mouth. Rarely, for me, a poem comes to me really, really quickly, and I just think, oh my goodness, I need to get this down. That doesn't happen often for something that requires very little in the way of editing or work. The majority of teeth require some effort. They require planning, they require manipulation, they also require some care and some kindness. They require the correct tools to get the job done. So that for me is the majority of poetry. And very occasionally there are some absolute, can I swear, bastards, where a tooth the roots of a tooth might be actually fused into the bone. It's called ankylosis, so you cannot remove it. Some roots have got little hidden hooked curves and you have to winkle it out. So like a poem, you know it's in there, you know that you want to reach an end point, but you just can't get there today or tomorrow or this week. So sometimes if a tooth is like that, or sometimes it breaks like glass and it's splintering each. Apologies for your listeners that might not like the detail. But that is really stress. The patient is numb, they're pain-free, so they can't feel anything painful, but they still feel all of the motion that's going on, so it's distressing. And poetry can be like that, to pull that, usually they're the ones that are most important, to really pull that poem out. And like a tooth, you sometimes just have to leave the roots, come back later. And what happens with time is that the roots drift, they migrate to the surface, so the access to it is suddenly clearer, the blockages have gone. So it's very, very, very similar to poetry, removing a tooth. Muna, you asked, do poems require anaesthesia before writing? And I would say some parts of the process definitely do. So that inner censor that says to you, you can't write about that, that's going to get you in trouble. Those are the parts of the process that you need to anaesthetize. Shut the up is what you need to say to that particular inner voice. The other part to anaesthetize is the early editor. When you start writing something and you haven't really got a fully formed shape or idea, but already your head is saying, trim this, cut that, move this. So anaesthetize your inner censor. Don't be censored. Anaesthetize your early editor. Stick them in a different room until later. Or the inner voice that says, why don't you write about something nice for a change? Write something like about butterflies. And I tried that recently and I ended up writing a poem called I Hate Butterflies. So sometimes you need to anaesthetize the voices that are doing you no favours, or you end up with a tepid, watered down version of what the poem really should be. Muna, you asked if every poem is a temporary filling for some inner void. And I would say maybe less a void and more an unanswered question. So I write poetry to help me find the answers. We go through many incarnations in a lifetime. I'm not the same person today that I was last week. I'll be a different person in a year's time. So sometimes that temporary filling needs replacing. We need to sort of re-examine why we wrote a poem, or maybe if we were to write that version of a poem now, it would be entirely different to the one that we wrote a year ago. So I guess it's a a temporary filling of a sort. But I don't think we ever really reach a permanent poem. You know, we look back on poems and think, now I would do that. I would do that differently. Good question. So you said you'd never met a dentist who hadn't been drawn by the pool of gold. And I understand why you asked that. I don't hang around with dentists because many of them are driven by jewellery, cars, status. I can genuinely say I was never drawn by the pool of gold. My mother, as a young woman, had all of her teeth removed. She wouldn't even have been 30. In the 1960s in the UK, that just seemed to be a thing that happened. So I became a dentist because I wanted to make her a new set of teeth. And I did, and I think they were probably horrendously uncomfortable, but she stuck with them. So that was my reason for going into dentistry. One of the first dentists that I worked for, he was fantastic. And he said to me, if you look after the patients, the money will look after itself. You don't have to think about the money. All you need to do is think about the care that you give people. And that was, decades ago, he said that to me. And he's right. If you look after people, you will build up a loyal following, if you like. Many of my patients are, I would now, call friends. We spend time together. We hug a lot, which I think is probably quite unusual for dentists and their patients, certainly in Scotland. I've been working in the same practice for 23 years. So I've seen mums with big pregnant bellies give birth to babies. I've seen those children grow up. I've seen them become university students or go into the world of work. I've seen them leave those places and, have families of their own. So I've seen the full travel. And for me, that's what dentistry gives me. It gives me a very clean but narrow portal to view the world and other people and get to share a really intimate space with somebody that trusts me, and also I have to trust them on the other side of the equation. It's a two-sided coin. It's a trust and a care and a kindness on both sides of the equation. And I think the same is true of poetry. You have to trust yourself, your safety when you're writing something, and also that of the people that perhaps you're delivering it to, you're performing it to. And again, it doesn't mean that you should censor your poetry, but you should certainly be mindful of share a safe space with people when you're reciting or reading poetry.
Have you ever spoken to your teeth?
Directly, I would say not that I can remember, not that I'm aware of. I grew up in a household that didn't have much money. I have 3 siblings. We shared a toothbrush between the 4 of us. Toothpaste was present, but it certainly wasn't plentiful. And because my mum had dentures, she didn't really have that much of a focus on teeth. I don't know if that was due to a lack of knowledge. It certainly wasn't due to a lack of care. She cared for us in every other ways. So I have had every kind of dentistry you could have. So I probably don't speak to them because I am aware of their fragility, and it's almost like if I look at them, maybe a problem will develop. So I care for them really well. I know they will need attention, and it's a big thing to trust somebody else to care for those teeth for me. Maybe in the same way that, if you write a poem and you want somebody to look at it for you, like guide you, and it requires quite a degree of sometimes courage, certainly a lot of trust in the other person to do that. So I've never spoken to them, but maybe I'll start. You're motivating me with your wild ideas, Muna. Have I written poems about teeth, Muna? Not specifically about a tooth, but I have written poems that often will include teeth. So I mentioned that I wrote a poem called I Hate Butterflies, which the nature poetry lovers are very disgusted by, because who can hate a butterfly? Well, I was sitting in a dentist's waiting room and I was booked in to have, general anaesthetic. I was having teeth pulled out. I think I must have been 10 or 11, and I was reading this grubby Nature magazine, and there was an article about the Apollo butterfly, which seals the genitalia of the female shut with a wax plug because he doesn't want anybody else coming visiting. And I just think, it's nature, I get that. But so I was remembering that, and I wrote this poem about being in the dental waiting room about to go and get gas. So it comes into my work, but it's not specifically about teeth. But I quite often, I will write about body parts. When I studied dentistry, you don't just learn about the mouth, you do an awful lot of dissection and whole anatomy learning. So I find the body an amazing place. So often I'll write about the body.
So can you mention a difference between Moroccan teeth and Scottish teeth, between Moroccan poetry and Scottish poetry? Or is the teeth like the pain is one?
I haven't been in a dental clinic looking at teeth intimately. From what I have seen, moving through Casablanca and Rabat, teeth are pretty universal. They're not distinctly different from what I've seen. I have seen people with missing teeth, in the streets, broken teeth. I've seen kids at school that have clearly got decayed teeth. But if you'd come to my school when I was 11, you'd have seen me with decayed teeth. So they are not distinctly different. With regards to the poetry, I think there is a difference. I'd say that Moroccan poetry, from my experience, seems to be much more, maybe honest isn't the word. What would the word be? It's more, it has a depth to it that I think we don't have in the UK. Moroccans tend to have sharper teeth. They will bite the reader. They're happy to sink their teeth in, it would seem. And I think we need to regain that in UK poetry, for sure.